John, something you just said is not consistent with what we were told last year. You're saying that you've always known there was a small number of al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. President Biden said, what interest do we have in Afghanistan at this point with al-Qaeda gone?
What interest do we have in Afghanistan at this point with al-Qaeda gone?
Yeah, I mean, in a major way, al-Qaeda was not playing. No, wait, let me finish. They weren't playing a major role in operations or resourcing or planning in Afghanistan. But Peter, I know specifically because I was at a different podium a year ago, and we talked about the fact that al-Qaeda had a presence in Afghanistan, but small and not incredibly powerful or potent. And I think, again, without getting into numbers, we would still assess that to be the case.
So we know that the Taliban was harboring the world's most wanted terrorist. You guys gave a whole country to a bunch of people that are on the FBI most wanted list. What did you think was going to happen?
I would take issue with the premise that we gave a whole country to terrorist groups. I mean, again, I'd encourage you to ask.
Harboring the world's #1 terrorist. How is that not giving a country to a terrorist sympathizing group, if not giving them permission to have terrorists just sit on a balcony?
The question, I mean, Peter, the way you asked that, it makes it sound like we owned Afghanistan a year ago. It wasn't our country. It was an independent sovereign state. And the president made a bold decision to end a war. Obviously, no one anticipated the Ghani government to fall as fast as it did.
So now that you know that the Taliban is not living up to the part of the deal that they made with the U.S. to not let Afghanistan be a place that terrorists feel like they can be safe, what are you going to do about it?
Well, that gets to Peter's question. I'm not going to telegraph decisions that haven't been made or policy initiatives one way or the other.
I would just say for some spectacular terrorist attack in the U.S. to then say, oh, well, there's terrorists.
If we were, Peter,
in Afghanistan, now we can go get them.
If we were, Peter, then we wouldn't have taken the hit on Saturday, the strike that we took.
Kirby, National Security Council Coordinator for Strategic Communications.
Thanks, great.
There you go.
Appreciate it. That's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful.
As you mentioned, we're seeing some pretty provocative stuff, unfortunately, from China, whether that's canceling food exports or planned military exercises. I'm wondering, given these developments, does the White House believe that it would have been better that news of Speaker Pelosi's proposed trip had not leaked last month? Would it have been better if this remained secret until she was on the ground?
Look, it's hard to speak to leaks in this town and what effect they. I mean, you're asking me to sort of go back in time and sort of disprove a negative here. Look, the leak was certainly unfortunate. Wherever it came from, it was unfortunate. Because the speaker, as we have said, Karine has said, and I have said, should be able to talk to her travel in her own terms. And you know, when she landed, she announced she was there.
And then one more very quickly. House Republicans are already moving forward with legislation that they plan on proposing it that would create a sort of lend-lease program for Taiwan. Is this an overreaction? Is this something that perhaps heightens tensions at a moment when they should be mellowed?
I won't speak to Congress and their motivations or whoever, and I'm certainly not going to talk about proposed legislation. I would tell you that it's time to wake up. I would tell you that there's been long-standing bipartisan support since the late 70s.
Mr. Kirby, al-Zawahiri killed more than 200 people in Tanzania and in Kenya in 1998. And right now, even though the U.S. compensated U.S. citizens who were victims of those bombings, the people in Kenya and Tanzania, they've received nothing. What message do you have for them now that you've killed it?
Yeah, I'd say the same thing I told Mr. Doocy here, that this is not just a good day for the United States of America, it's a good day for the world.
Yeah, but I'm saying that the families of the victims of those bombings were not compensated by the U.S. What message do you have?
I don't have any compensation policies here to speak to.